When it comes to preventing the Kimura when you're trapped on the bottom, one big thing is not to leave it floating around here, either out in the Kimura position or even on this side of the head. Very, very few escapes in grappling work when this is your kind of posture. So ideally, I want to be hiding this hand under the armpit, or having it here, or having it here. Any other position than here. If he does start going for it, go for the Kimura, if I can, during the transition, move it to the armpit, that's a lot better than it was. And sometimes if I cup his elbow here with my hand, go for the Kimura, please, I can make it a bit tougher for him to bring his hands into play. It's not going to last forever, might buy me another second. Another thing that buys you a few seconds is the flip-flop that we covered in the Americana section. So we're here, he catches me in a Kimura, I turn to an Americana. He switches, I switch again. He switches. Now hopefully by this time I've come up with a plan B to get out of this. Let me show you a couple of plan Bs in the next techniques. In this case, my opponent is in my half guard, and applying the Kimura from the top when he's in my half guard is a good strategy. So here's a way to counter that. He catches my arm and locks it up in the Kimura. This is not a good place for me to be. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my free leg and bring it in behind his knee. Now keeping that butterfly hook in behind his knee on the other side, I take my hand and I push away on his hip. Now usually when I push away, he's going to drive in. Now I'm going to lift, I'm going to plant my foot, lift and push him over to this side. I'm not out of the woods yet. I've got one hook in for rear mount, but the priority has to be protecting my arm. So, I'll spin here. I swim my free hand under his armpit, control his wrist, and use that to strip. From here, it could be a bit of a battle, but hopefully I move to rear mount. Let's talk about the leg positioning, because that really is key to this whole technique. We're here, he's hanging on the Kimura for all he's worth. So, I'm going to move my left instep, my free instep underneath his knee. If I just go here, he's going to dismount and pass my guard. So, not only do I have to have that underneath his knee, I need to have my other leg over top. There's something underneath it, there's something over it. This hand goes on his hip or sometimes on his knee. Now, it's not as hard to lift him up as it looks. I time it, I plant my foot, and I lift and I lift. And I dump him over. Now, like I said, I'm not out of the woods yet because he can, if I'm extremely unlucky, do a straight armbar here. So I have to immediately swim under here to control this and to begin stripping the grip. If your opponent's much, much heavier than you, you might not be lifting him as much as sort of shucking him over top of you. Let's pretend that Richie's way heavier. He's been doing a couple cycles of crank. He's 280 pounds instead of his 240 pounds. So I'm here. I might not be able to lift, but I can still probably push him this way, here, by pushing him and using my instep. Same thing applies. Swim under, strip, and fight for the back. This is a Kimura Escape you can use when it's fully locked on and the guy's inside mount. So Richie has taken my arm, locked it up, he's got his elbow down by my hip. Number one, I walk my legs towards my hand here. Number two, I grip the inside of the knee and I lift my knee up off the ground. Now, I'm going to use this to buy me some time and to create a bit of room between our bodies to take my hand from this position underneath his body. And when I'm here, I'm going to block his arm a little bit. I'm going to push his tricep to make a bit of room. This allows me to bring my knee in to strip his grip. From here, I use my heel. I bring my inside heel, the heel closest to him, above his arm, and trap his arm there. I push his head, and I bring my leg over, triangling my legs. Now from here, if I've got strong legs, I can choke, or I can hook his leg, and I roll him over to here. From here, I can choke, or I can dismount and get to the top of side control. Let's talk about the details of this escape. If he's doing the Kimura correctly, his elbow will be in my hip. That means when it's locked on, I can't bring my hand to grab onto my belt, to grab onto my gi, to grab onto my pants. So if I can't bring my hand to my body, I bring part of my body, in this case my legs, to my hand, right? I walk my legs here, or swing them. I open my leg, and once again I'm hooking that convenient little tendon on the back of the knee that was put there so that you can counter the Kimura. From here, I lift my hand up. I use my knee to lift my hand up. In the Kimura, he's trying to lift my elbow up and put my hand behind the plane of my back. So by doing this, by lifting up with my knee, I'm bringing my hand in front of my body, the opposite of what he wants to do. This will buy me time. Who knows? Maybe he'll get frustrated here and abandon the move, go to something else. This is one potential endpoint. The next potential endpoint is breaking that grip. To do that, I need to get my hand down here. This is easier when I'm blocking the Kimura, because that's what he's focused on. I'm going to push that hand. This is usually not enough to break the Kimura, but it is enough for me to bring my knee of the far leg, the leg that's furthest away from him, up inside his grip. From here, lock your hands please, Richie, to here. And I knee him in the head for good measure. Now from here, I can use the power of my legs to strip the grip off of my hands. This is another potential endpoint. But sometimes, if he hangs out here, or if I'm fast, I switch, and I go for a reverse kind of triangle. We're here. Now I can tighten this up sometimes by pulling this arm, or squeezing. But typically, if he's really fighting it, the best thing to do is to take the arm that's closest to him, hook his knee, almost like you're doing a basic omoplata sweep, and roll him over your body. I keep the triangle locked. See, I'm choking by bringing my heel up towards my face, or I release. His arm is trapped. I've got his head. He's in a terrible position now, and I'm out. So those are some of the details that make this escape much more effective.